Sometimes it's nice to give personal experience, talk about what I've actually done myself, and answer questions in terms of what does a good investment look like. I've made lots of good investments. I've really made not many very bad investments, but maybe they've not just been great. But I've also made some great investments. So I want to go through and break down some investments for you that I've made, what worked, what hasn't worked, and what type of yield you should be looking for. So today's example, I'm going to talk about the One Za'abeel, which is a branded residence in the Za'abeel area. Now, Za'abeel as a whole is probably a little bit of the unknown for a lot of people because you're not DIFC, you're not downtown, you are Za'abeel. So this is a new up-and-coming area where investment is being made at the moment. Now, to give you an idea, Sheikh Mohammed's office is in the One Za'abeel Tower. You have Nobu, you have some of the best brands and retails there, and it's built by the Kerzner brand. Now, the original reason I invested in the One Za'abeel brand is I'm a big believer in following brands. I initially bought in the Royal Atlantis, and that was one of my great investments that I made, which we'll talk about in another video. But I believed in the Kerzner brand. I was given an opportunity to invest before really most people were there, and I decided to take them up on the offer. So let's go through the offer and work out what it is I was given and what the potential upside would have been. So I bought a property maybe 3 years ago for 8.1 million. Now this is one of my craziest investments that I've made because it was a 1-bedroom that was 1,800 square feet. Now that should be a 2-bedroom. The logic of me buying that was it's a 1-bedroom, it's near the airport, it's near DIFC. There's going to be somebody who is a single bachelor in a high-level paid DIFC job that will want to live in a luxury apartment. Now what happened is I bought it, I put the deposit down, the 20%, and I paid the completion when it comes to pay 100%. All of my assets, I have a certain way that I deal with. And what I mean by that is I always pay for my assets in cash. Now, to some people, that sounds crazy. And why does it sound crazy? Because people say, Lewis, you can buy more, you can buy more. I definitely could have bought 20x more properties if I was financing my properties that I invest in. But the reason I don't do that, I have one goal. My goal is how much rental income can I receive on a monthly basis to make sure that if I ever stop working, basically, I have enough money to live. And you can't do that if you're receiving a mortgage versus a rent. And to give you a breakdown, let's say, for instance, you have a 1 million dirham property and a 1 million dirham loan, you have a 6,000 repayment. And if you rent it for 70,000, you're basically breaking even. So that doesn't work for me for my investment goal. My investment goal was simple: receive money every month. Whilst I'm lying in bed, I'm making money. So I went down the cash route, which I'm very aware not a lot of people can do. But my goal is recurring money. I put the money down, complete on the property. We did the handover, collected the keys. The property was fully furnished with the one and only branded furniture. Everything from the cups, the kettles, and everything was put in there. So we put it on the market. Interesting story about that was it took quite a long time to rent, and this happens when you're getting new buildings. First of all, if you have a new building, it means they're releasing maybe 200 or 300 units to rent on the same time. Some owners will want to rent their unit cheap to get it rented. I am not that guy. I would leave my property vacant for 4 months, maybe out of stubbornness, maybe out of belief that I think this is a good opportunity to rent for somebody else. On about the 3rd month, we ended up renting that property. Now, we rented it for 710,000 dirhams in one payment. Now, the one payment thing is a big one to me. As a landlord, if you can get it, incredible. If I'm an agent, I'm advising my landlords to take 12 checks. But fortunately for me, this was a tobacco company that come in, that had their rental payment for the year and paid me in one payment. That works out to an 8.7% rental yield. Is that a good rental yield? Yes, a very good rental yield. I give myself a target, and this for anybody watching this, 6% return on investment off your rental income specifically is an incredible amount of money that I think you should be aiming to receive. So if you have 1 million dirhams, you ideally want to receive 6,000 a month. If you can do that, you sit in the category and box of a good investment. If you put that money into a fixed deposit in WEO Bank, for example, today, they will pay you 3.25%. So you will already double what WEO Bank or any fixed deposit would give you, unless you lock your money for a year, which you would get a bit more. I'm getting the 8.7%. But where else am I making my money? So the question that people say is, why don't I just put my money into a fixed deposit and not buy a property? Now that doesn't work for me, because why do I continually buy a property? It's to do two things. Number one, place my money into a property that's getting me recurring money. But secondly, probably the most important thing is to let that property go up in value. So what will happen? I would have it rented for 710. It's worth 8.1. But if you fast forward 4 years, which we are today, that property is now worth 10. Now, if that property is worth 10, I'm probably aiming to get an 8.7% yield when that tenant moves out again. That's going to put me in the realms of 870,000 dirhams. Do I think I can achieve that? Maybe, maybe not. 2 beds are currently going at just over $1 million. It might be possible to do because my 1 bedroom is at the same price as that. So that gives you an idea and understanding for where my mind's at. The long-term investor will always win. I did a video before talking about inflation. The property market can go up or down, but over a 10 or 20 year period, as long as Teslas, phones, food is going up at 3 to 4 to 5% a year, your asset of property will do that as well. So as an investor, you're receiving your 8.7% on your money, but you're also potentially receiving minimum 5% on the property value going up. So your net is actually 8.7 plus 5%. You're nearly sitting at 13.7% for your money in. How people need to think about property is this way. It is a bank account. It is not you losing your money, which is why people fear it. They say, oh, I can't buy that. That's a lot of money. I don't think that way. I think I'm going to place my money in this new bank account called the Bank of Za'abeel. That bank account is going to pay me money. And also the asset itself, when I go to sell it at any point, has also gone up in value. So I am double dipping my return on investment. So the summary for this is, if you are an investor, look for a good yield, but also look for the growth on the property. Now, to give you an idea, we talked a little about Jumeirah Golf Estates too, and there's a recent launch there, and I was talking to somebody about buying in that project, and they said to me, what do you think? Is it a good investment? I said, yes. If you look at the data says it's half the price per square foot of JGE1, Jumeirah Golf Estates 1. And also the rentals are very, very high. Some of the yields the landlords are getting are incredible. So looking at these data decisions will give you an idea for if there's going to be growth in the area. I do believe there is going to be serious growth in Za'abeel and the Za'abeel area due to the amount of high-end exclusive developments, projects and brands that are going to go there. I've invested early into the area and I think I will see the rewards in the next 5 years or so. So the question is, how do you replicate what I've been doing? It's very easy. You have to have the vision for what potentially the area or the future could look like. Now, I use the Palm Jebel Ali as an example. It'll be another video I will do an investment on, a case study on that I've invested in. I've looked at Palm Jebel Ali and I saw the vision, and I thought, is there a chance this is going to go up to the same value or a little bit less because of the location right now? Yes, there is, and I've looked at the data points. So if you want to be the person that makes them decisions, you cannot invest in what everybody else is investing in. The best investors see the future. And if you manage to look into the future, you will find the best returns. And there was an amazing video of one of the locals talking about DIFC 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, saying this land of sand is going to be the best development you're ever going to see. Now, if my cut team is correct, they'll put the video here so you can see that video. And it will show you what DIFC looked like, which was sand. And the guy is saying this will be the #1 hub.
The future financial center for this part of the world. All the empty area basically from here, from this building all the way down to the last building there on the road. At least you'll have 20, 30 towers that will come up from here. It will attract the A-class financial institution from the world who serve basically this region.
Now, if you understood Dubai and you've seen that video, all of a sudden you believed, you know what? Dubai's the place to be. And I think that what they say the future is going to happen, happens. So invest in the future, not invest in the now. And if you do that, your yields will be a lot higher.